What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. Today, you guys, we got a special guest. We got LT from Recovering Addict. That is his channel. He actually is kind of new to YouTube. He just started his channel a couple months ago. And, I think I found him because my friend James from the channel, Sober James, sent me a message about him, and then he slid into my DMs, and he's been coming to our live streams and hanging out with us. And so he's in recovery, and he's going to come on and tell a story, you guys. Y'all know how we do it over here. So hey Ian, hey Melissa, hey Cindy, hey Deidre, hey the other Melissa. What's up, you guys? Come on in, have a seat. Everybody, welcome your neighbor. Let people know, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I'm going to get LT on the screen with me, and we'll get started, okay? So thanks you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it.
Hey.
What's up?
Can you hear me good?
Isn't this awesome?
Yeah, this is way cool.
Yeah, I like it too. Okay, so everybody's filing in right now because I literally went live like 1 minute before you came on. So what I want to do is kind of wait for everybody to get in here, because usually it takes about 3 to 5 minutes for people to get sliding in, and I'm going to share this on my Instagram and my Twitter.
All right.
And yeah, so everybody, this is LT. LT, will you tell us a little bit about your channel and stuff?
Yeah, so I just created the channel in January. I think January 11th was my first upload. I just got out of recovery, and in the spirit of Step 12, rest of my life I want to, inspire other recovering addicts, help anybody else to recover. I realized, when you go to meetings, or if you help somebody, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer or a firefighter or a police, not a lawyer, scratch that one, but firefighter, ambulance driver, and you're not getting your hands dirty, saving lives, you can actually save somebody's life in an AA meeting or coming on here and talking and, inspiring somebody to stay clean, and you literally could save somebody's life.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah, I'm digging it.
And it's a good feeling too, especially like whenever I really like doing YouTube, because I feel like I get to interact with everybody, and that's what makes me, that's why I get excited about it, because we can come on and we can do live streams and we can answer questions, and then you have people that reach out to you like on Instagram or emails. It's really, it's so amazing, because when I first started trying to get sober, I don't remember there being like anything on social media. In fact, all the AA meetings I went to, they were like, you either go to a meeting in person, you don't go on the internet, you don't talk about being sober, like it's anonymous.
It's taboo, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, you don't tell anybody that you're in recovery. And now it's like, it's the cool thing to be in recovery.
Yeah, it is. You know what I noticed? It reminds me of when the soldiers came back from Vietnam. They were spit on and hated. And now soldiers come back from whatever war, and they're treated like heroes. And then you had the crack epidemic back in the 80s and 90s, and those were just junkie drug addicts, lock them up. But now things are changing. They're starting to see they're humans with people. They got families and kids. And I think it's a good time for us to be out here spreading the message of recovery.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on just a second. Hey, you guys. Let me take you in another room. Like, okay. I can't do it with y'all in here. No, I can't. We're transferring our computer place. I have the boys in the kitchen getting food, and that's my filming spot, y'all. Okay, let's see. Well, I'll just sit in here with you. Man, Neil, can you guys please go upstairs, please? Sorry.
I had to rein my kids in too. They want to come say hi in a little bit.
Okay, this is what I want to do. So, have you ever told your story at like a meeting or anything before?
Yeah, I've told my story a few times.
Okay, so you know what to do. Tell us what it was like before you got into your active addiction, what it was like during, and what your life is like now.
Okay, so there's 2 times in my life that I basically completely burnt every bridge and destroyed everything and crashed and burned twice. So the first time, my dad moved us out to Michigan, and I came back to Utah when I was 18, and I just started partying. Any drug that was put in front of me, I would do it, you know, the normal story. And I became a meth addict, and I was hooked on meth, smoking it, doing whatever I could. And at that point, meth led me to some burglaries, and I ended up getting caught and went to jail for a good year. And then came out of that after I got out of the halfway house, cleaned up some things, got sober for a little while. And then when I turned 33, I started drinking again. And it was just, I didn't really realize I was an addict at that time. You know, I didn't know the definition of addict, or that I had a disease, or whatever you want to call it. And so I just started drinking with friends on the weekends and partying. And then, you know, little behold, 8, 6, 7 years later, I'm drinking a fifth a night, missing most days at work, and burning every bridges, ruining my relationships with close people around me, ruining my reputation at work. And I was drinking close to a fifth almost every night by the time I checked myself into a detox center.
What was your first experience with like methamphetamine? Like, did somebody at school give it to you, or were you like hanging out with older people? Like, how did you get into doing that?
So actually, my first experience with that is when it was crank. Meth really hadn't even come out yet. But it was crank, and I was in Michigan, and I was about 17, and we were dropping acid and doing all other kinds of stuff. And somebody was like, sniff this line. And I was like, okay. So I sniffed the line, and I was like, I don't feel anything. So they gave me another one. And the rest of the night, I ended up drawing on the walls, and you play in this one stupid video game for probably 8 hours. I think it was a pool game, and I was trying to line up that shot. So I didn't really understand what was going on when the first time I took some powerful speed like that. It wasn't until I got to Utah when I got introduced to it at parties. I was like, whoa, I could party for 2 days on this stuff, you know?
Right.
And from there on, it's a funny story. I was selling Kirby's, and we were doing meth in the back of the Kirby van, and then I'd go in and try to demonstrate a Kirby all high.
Vacuums?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember like doing those kind of jobs. Like once I sold steaks door to door.
Oh yeah. Yeah. To meet people, we give them high fives as we passed them. But yeah, so I started doing meth heavily, selling Kirby's, because I would just, you know, all kinds of energy. I'm talkative, blah, 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 until meth was more important than work. And, you know, if I ran out of meth, I was sleeping trying to demonstrate the vacuum. And then I ended up quitting and just running the streets, doing anything a tweaker does.
What was it about methamphetamine that kind of like, because I know for me, the reason why I chose stimulants to use first was because as a woman, as a young girl, I was insecure. I was on the cheerleading squad. I wanted to be skinny. I wanted to be able to do like all these, like I needed energy. I felt like I needed to be more on, you know, I needed to be whenever I was at a party, I wanted to be in the center of attention, and I wanted to be the person that everybody wanted to be around. And when I would get high, I felt like that gave me that confidence, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, my dad put me on Ritalin when I was in 9th grade. So maybe that was my first experience with it. It made me concentrate really good in school. But the reason I liked meth, because once I started doing meth, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke weed. I was just all about meth. And I just loved the way it made everything more interesting. Drawing, writing poems, conversations. You could sit and have a conversation for 4 hours and solve all the world's problems, you know. But I've never been the person that was I could be the life of the party with or without drugs. That stuff never bothered me.
Okay. And so after you were using meth, you just put it down. You just quit. Like you didn't have a problem walking away from it?
Oh no. So I committed that burglary, and I ended up getting arrested, and they took me to jail. And that's when I went to jail, and I slept for so long in jail that I woke up to dudes, hey, Sleepy, go take a shower. So my nickname around the pod for that 4 months was Sleepy. I ended up getting it tattooed on my arm and everything.
Really?
Yes, in jail. Somebody snuck in a CD player motor, and we made ink one night out of hair food and did the whole thing, you know, and I got it tattooed right there. Wow. And then I got out and got on probation, and I was out probably a week and a half, maybe 2, and relapsed right back to meth. And then obviously my PO was like, cuff up, taking you back to jail. And then I did another 4 or 5 months, and then they gave me like one more try, and that was through the halfway house. And that's what it took to actually get me off of meth. or the whole 4 months, the first time I was in jail, all I could think about was I knew I had a bag hidden somewhere, and that's where I was going first thing.
So they put you in a halfway house. When they put you in that halfway house, were you introduced to like the 12 steps or any kind of recovery program?
No, it was just more drug tests and kind of a group therapy. And honestly, I don't remember. I don't even think I was that engaged. I would just tell them what they wanted to hear. And and it was just drug tests, room searches. We'd get kicked out of bed in the middle of the night, and they'd have dogs come through and sniff our rooms out. It wasn't that fun of a place, but it was kind of cool because you got to go out and work. And at that point, I had changed and didn't want to. I was like, I don't want to go to prison because I was just in the jail and in the halfway house. And so I really got my act together, got a job, and completed all the requirements. Then ended up getting off probation. I think back in 2005 or 6 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So you think it was like a scared straight kind of thing? Because for me, like I have a similar experience, only like I went to jail and, then I went to prison and then I came out of prison and then I went, like I kept going farther and farther and farther. So it's like I would get those consequences, but those consequences, it's like they just weren't enough to affect me to make a change, So, okay. So after you came out of the halfway house, you sobered up off of methamphetamine.
Everything.
What happened? Okay, off of everything. What happened then? What made you start drinking? I mean, kind of take us through that process.
So actually, once I got off probation, I think the day I got off probation, I started smoking weed again, instantly. I was doing stucco, working for a friend, and we did a really good job, and we smoked weed daily. So after I got off probation, 2006 or whatever, I can't even remember when it was, I smoked weed daily for another 4 years. I didn't go back to meth. I was scared of that because I knew that took me straight to jail. But I smoked weed regularly, and I didn't drink because I don't know why I didn't drink. I was just a pothead. I'd go to work and come home, and so I was a functioning pothead. And then I got a different job where they drug tested. So that's when I cleaned up weed because you couldn't smoke weed. And then I got really physically fit. So when I get into things, like most addicts, we're 100% balls to the wall the whole time. And so I got into fitness, and that's when I was I was going to the gym twice a day, doing all the right diets and exercises. And then I started getting lazy with that. And that's when I was like 33, I started partying with friends on the weekends, birthday parties and drinking. I love getting high and drunk. It was fun. And so once a month turned into all 4 weekends. And then, throughout the week until finally it was every night a pint. And then in 2017, that kind of switched everything for me. And that's when I started drinking that pretty much a fifth every night. I was going to work drunk. I'd have my wife drive in the mornings because I wasn't hungover. I was still drunk.
So when you met your wife, she know that you had a drinking problem?
No, I didn't have a drinking problem when I met her. I was a pothead when I met her, but I didn't drink. I didn't start drinking until 5-6 years into our relationship.
Oh, okay. And then, what do you think triggered the drinking to start? Were you just going through a hard time? Were you having depression? Were you just not, what do you think? Do you ever think back and you can like kind of say, this is why I started doing this,
I'd look back at it because I got that new job and it was kind of a crazy job to get. The chances of a felon, because I'm a felon, to get the job that I got was just crazy. So I was kind of stressed with that. And then everybody at that place were drinkers. That's what they do. Still right now I go to work, and if you're hungover, high five, good job. You know what I mean? And so I started hanging out with them, and I had a friend that would come over, and he would always bring, 12-pack of Corona, and we just started drinking then. But I'm not the one that really suppresses any tragedy or emotion. I just like to get trashed.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, that's one of the things, like, I feel like a lot of people, I hear a lot of people, they talk, I mean, yes, my addiction was terrible at the end, but at the beginning and even in the middle, like, I really enjoyed getting high.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the way it made me feel, and that's why I kept doing it, even whenever the consequences were terrible. Damn. Okay, so you're drinking alcohol, you're married, you're having kids. what was the point where you were like, I got to stop doing this because I'm going to die or I'm going to lose everything?
Yeah. So the last 2 years of my drinking, when it was really heavy, every morning was guilt ridden, shame. You know what I mean? I wasn't eating because all I was doing was drinking. So my nutrition was horrible. I couldn't even pick heavy things up without shaking. And so I felt really guilty. At work, I got passed over for 4 promotions. And one of them was like supposed to be guaranteed mine because I pretty much I'm the one that created the position through some stuff that I did. And so I like completely destroyed my reputation at work. You know, I became that guy that they can't rely on. So I got passed over for 4 promotions. I could see it in my wife and kids every time I would stop at the liquor store, just the look on their face. And, you know, she tried to plant seeds the whole time. Hey, you got a problem. And you know how we are. We don't listen, don't want to even think about it. And then I went to the doctor. He drew my blood and was going down the list. Hey, look, this is low. And then he got to my enzymes and stopped and looked right at me and said, how much do you drink? And of course I lied. I told him about half of what I drink. Yeah. And he says, do you want to live past 50? He goes, do you want to see your kids grow up? You need to quit drinking right. He knew I was lying. He goes, you need to quit drinking right now. And then he told me his whole story about his brother who's going through liver failure and all this and that. And he's about to die, and warned me about, from what he could see through my liver enzymes, where I was headed, because I was drinking that. I wasn't just drinking beer. Beer didn't cut it, especially here in Utah, because it was only 3.2 at the time. So I was pounding whiskey, and that was on the weekends, I'd wake up drinking whiskey. That was my drink. So that kind of led to it. And then the last weekend I drank was August 16th through the 19th. I drank somewhere between 3 gallons, maybe 4. And I had enough. I was just by myself. I think I was in the motorhome and I was just drunker and drunk, you know, woke up, missed work again. So I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I got it. If I don't pull the plug, if you don't put me in a hospital, I'm not going to quit. So I just forced myself into a hospital. I went to the hospital so drunk that they told me to go sleep it off. And so my dad took me to a hotel so I didn't come home, and made sure that I slept it off, and then took me right back to the hospital when I was semi-sobered up.
Did they admit you into like a 30-day treatment program?
No, they just did a detox. So we talked about that, but I didn't want to do that because I was afraid of work and all that kind of stuff. But I called work and I said, don't expect to see me until this is resolved. And they were really cool about it. And so I detoxed for 3 days and like 2 nights in the hospital. And as soon as I got out of there, I checked myself into an intense outpatient. And that was pretty intense. It was 5:30 to 9 o'clock every night, 5 nights a week. And then on the weekends, we had a mandatory NA and AA meeting. We had to switch back and forth on the weekends. And we had to do a check-in online every night to do our inventory. They had us a whole inventory of character defects we had to go through and rate if we drank, if we didn't, if our mind was in recovery. And so that took me 5 months. I just barely transitioned out of there probably a couple weeks ago. And so that's what I did instead of the 30-day inpatient. So I detoxed and did a 5-month program, intense outpatient.
What's that?
That is my daughter.
Hey, girl. Have you ever seen that? I don't even want to say it, but you know the Ring where the girl has the long black hair? And I see her crawling. And look at that. I was the same way when I was young. Okay. So 5 months in intensive outpatient.
Yeah.
I know you probably ran into some characters in there, huh?
Oh, yeah. And the sad thing was I saw more people drop out than actually complete it. And it's not the program's fault. It's their fault for not working the program, just like the 12 schools.
Right. A lot of people are very, I don't know. I understand. Sometimes I see some people's point of views, but it's like, for me, whenever I got out of treatment, because I had to go to 30-day treatment because there was no way. I could not go to treatment. I had to because it was like I needed to be removed from everything. And also it was like a mandatory thing because they weren't going to let me have my son back if I didn't go to treatment. Right. And so when I came out, I was just like, it was the hardest thing, man. I'm telling you what, for me, like I wanted to be sober, but I was still struggling so much with the obsession to use everything and anything. Oh, yeah. So when do you feel like you've kind of went through that transition where that obsession to get high and drunk has been lifted, or are you still working through that, or what?
So yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I talk about that a lot. There's that, from what I've noticed, from what I've seen in treatment the last 5 months and what I experienced myself. So the first 30 to 50 days, I was resisting the treatment. I don't need to be here. I'm good. I haven't drank for 30 days. You know that whole mind game your addict starts playing on you. Yeah. And at day 47, I relapsed. I went and I was like, and I wasn't buying what they were selling. I was like, powerless? No, I got this. I just showed you I got this. I'm going to prove it. So I went to the liquor store. I bought a half a pint of whiskey, maybe 3-4 shots worth of whiskey. And I was like, I'm going to put this in my top drawer. And I'm going to drink it when I want to drink it. So we went out to dinner. I came back, and then I decided when to drink, right? And which is a freaking addict the whole time. But I drank that pint, went back, and I'm not the one that's a closet drunk. I'll put it on display. I don't really care. So I told the whole family what I was doing, and I drank, and we went back to group. I told them, hey, I relapsed, if that's what you want to call it, and my counselor, and this guy, they call him the Jedi. He's the Yoda of Utah for helping people in recovery. The dude's amazing. But he walked me through it logically. He's like, so you checked yourself into this program because you have a drinking problem. And now you don't think you have a problem, and you had to prove it to yourself that you don't have a drinking problem by drinking. Does that make sense? I'm just like, oh God, I felt so stupid. And then right around that 47-day point is when everything clicked. You can even tell my key tags. You can see that or not, but it goes white, orange, white, orange. Right there where the relapse happened.
I've been there. I've totally done that. But for me, what would happen is I would get so ashamed. I wouldn't go back for a really long time. I think like there was a couple times where I went right back, but then the last time I went back out, I didn't come back for like 4 years. And then when I finally came back, it was after my son had been born.
Yeah.
And so I had been going to AA since 2008, since the first time I went to treatment. I think the first time I went to treatment was like 2006, 2007. And so and I have been to treatment 5 different times, back and forth. And so I would hear everything that they were saying, and I could tell you everything. I could quote the book to you. I could follow the directions. I was very much I was a direction follower. I was very compliant. And that's one of the things that a lot of addicts, that's what we do. It's like we can go in there and be like, bada bing, bada boom, I'm recovered. And then I'm checking out, and everybody thinks, wow, Nicole, she's got recovery. She's going to go places. Yep. And then I show back up like 30 days later, like high as hell, looking crazy, and I really thought, I was like, a lot of those times I had every intention of staying sober. Yeah. I really meant it, and then I would go back out, and for me, what it wasn't about proving it to myself. It was like, I just still wanted to get high. I still had this reservation that I could do it, and I could get over and not stuff happen and get past it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dang. You're doing an awesome job to be able to be, I almost feel like you're so much farther ahead in your recovery in such a short time than I feel like I was whenever I was doing it, because I was just I don't know. I was so shocked to have to say that I didn't have control over my life.
Yeah. Step 1's not easy. So after I relapsed, I did step 1, and that's when it really just took hold. Everything. Oh, and on Thursday nights at that intense program from 6:30 to 7:30 was family group. So my wife and kids would show up. And at one point at family group, after I relapsed, one of the ladies that was there, she's awesome. She asked my wife, so how do you feel about his relapse? And then the whole room just turns on you. And it's just this whole session of, trying to show you the addict in your mind and how it was your addiction that got you to do that it wasn't your, because our best thoughts got us there anyway. But right after that, something clicked in my head. All the material, the literature made absolute 100% sense. and it's just all I crave now. And now I want to kind of, to get out in my relapse prevention, I want to throw myself out there, share my story of hope, strength, and experience, and have to live above reproach because of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because me and you can't go back and fail now.
Oh no, listen, and I think about that every single day.
Yeah.
I'm like, Nicole, look at this. Listen, honestly, if I did go out and relapse, I would come right back and I would say, listen, y'all, I messed up. It's all out on the table. But it's like so amazing when you like you're probably already experiencing it now with your channel. Like you're creating a community, a fellowship, and it's these people will rally around you,
Yeah.
and you can come on and be like, guys, I'm going through a hard time today, or I just don't feel like doing this anymore. And everybody's going to be like, LT, you're doing a great job. Keep on going.
Yeah.
Never turn back, you know?
Have you ever heard of the saying that, what is it? Abhors a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, meaning when something's removed, just like how a water pump works, the water gets squished out and then the water has to come back in because it's a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed since I've left treatment, even because I was there 5 nights a week, 3.5 hours every night, and I've been out for 2 weeks. Now there's that vacuum, right? All that treatment is gone. So now I have to replace that with this kind of stuff here, literature, going to meetings, how important that is. That being said, I've noticed just this last 2 weeks, my addict mind going, in about a year, you'll probably be able to drink on the weekend, just once or twice a month. It's talking. Like right now, I struggle with the fact that one day I could drink normally with knowing full well.
That's totally normal, just so you know. Like I have moments like that, like especially when I go to like a Mexican food restaurant and I see like a frosted margarita glass with the lime and everything.
Oh, yeah.
For a split second, it goes through my mind like how good that would taste.
Yeah.
But one of the things that my sponsor, and then I think I learned this in like one of the treatment centers I went in, they would say this thing and they would say to play the tape all the way through.
Right.
And so what I try to do when I have like thoughts like that is I'll play the tape past what would happen if I drank like 10 of those margaritas like I wanted to. And then most likely what would happen is I would crash my car into a brick wall.
Right.
Or I would walk inside of Dillard's and steal everything and then get arrested. Like I was literally retarded when I was in my addiction, And so it's like these things that they teach you when you're like in the intensive outpatient or go into your meetings, you'll hear people like say it. It's like this stuff. This is what I'm talking about when I share with people on my channel. This stuff really works if you actually put it into action in your life. Like if you practice what they teach you in the program and you work it in your life every day,
it works.
You'll stay sober.
There's no doubt about it. I always like the cliche saying of, "Oh, I'm allergic to it. I'll break out in handcuffs."
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's true. If you work your program, if you do the plan that's laid out for you, you can't fail. And once you understand your emotions and your character defects and your thought process, and how the thing that really stuck with me too is when you have an emotion, say anxiety or depression, and that first thought triggers that, that endorphin drop from your brain and your heart starts racing. Scientifically, it takes 3 to 5 minutes for that to just go away, right? Unless you keep feeding it. And so I've learned that my mind has a front door and it has a back door. A thought comes in, I'm not in control of that first thought, but that second thought, I have total control over. And so when that thought comes in the front door, I don't sit down and have lunch with it and keep feeding it and keep dripping that stuff out of my brain, giving me that anxiety where you know how it just perpetuates.
Yep.
Push it out the back door. I wait my 3 to 5 minutes for that anxiety, that craving, or whatever it is to just subside and then move on. And it's funny because it gets easier as the more you practice that. And that's working your program. And that's what they've taught me to do.
Repetition, nonstop. And listen, let me tell you this. I want to get your perspective on this. A lot of people bust my chops because like I've been doing this for like 2 years straight on my channel, and I'm never going to stop talking about recovery because if I do, I'll forget that I'm an addict and then I'll get high. What do you think about that?
I agree. If I'm not in it daily, I had to set up an actual like 2-page relapse prevention program before I could transition. And in my transition was reading a new book every 2 months. I tried to set realistic rules, grow this channel so that every day or throughout the whole week, I'm studying some topic on recovery, and on the weekend produce it. And that's if I don't, just like you said, if I don't stay focused on it every day, I know, because I've experienced it through my mind, that I will end up talking myself into that one drink, which will lead to every night in the next year after that,
Yeah, and the only reason I know this to be 100% true is because I've tried to not be an addict. I've tried to tell myself that, well, you're sober now. You've moved past that time in your life, and you don't have to focus on that anymore. And every time I've done that, I've relapsed. Every time I've put the focus off my recovery and put it on like my job or a relationship, I have went back out. And so I don't. I almost feel like, how does somebody, if they're really a drug addict, like I'm an addict, then how do they just say, oh, well, I'm not an addict anymore and I'm not going to focus on that?
No, that's
I don't
good.
think, I think it's just because it serves them and they
Yeah.
don't want to see reality
Right.
and honesty and the truth. The truth is, like, it's never going to go away, but we can keep fighting it and keep it in remission by staying on our treatment and doing our programs and staying consistent and diligent in our recovery. That's how we stay sober.
That's true.
Okay, I think some people are asking you some questions, so let me see what I got going on here.
Little
Can you see the chat?
Yeah, I can. Little Kelly, I do have a channel. It's called Recovering Addict. If you search Recovering Addict, just go to the filter and look for the channel. You'll see like a blue sky behind my head, and I got I think I'm wearing these glasses right here. I look like this.
Oh, I can link. Let me see that. Will you bring me my phone? Oh, never mind. You're not. Never mind. I think I can. Let me link your channel in the chat. Will you go grab my phone, Nate? Yeah, thank you, baby.
Hey, sweet.
Hey, Merk.
Just subscribe. Thank you very much.
Oh, hey, Merk. Will you grab his channel for me and link it in the chat? I have the best moderators in the whole wide world, and they will link. There they go. Good job, Merk. My number one.
Are your moderators sitting with you, or
do what?
Are they sitting with you, your moderators?
Oh no, they're just in the chat, and they just
okay.
They just like drop the links for me, and we have like a whole team here. Honey, you guys don't understand. This is a well-oiled machine over here.
I see that.
This is organized chaos. But really though, like, I love having people on my channel to share their stories, and I'm so glad that you came on to share about yours. Is there anything else that you want to share with us? Like, what are your goals for your channel? What are you working on next? Tell us some more about that.
So my goal for Recovering Addict, I just became the JSR of the AA meeting, my home group downtown. I want to grow the Recovering channel until it becomes a place where we can raise nonprofit for a nonprofit organization and give that money to other, because a lot of the treatment facilities are struggling around here for funds. And I'd like to be able to channel from recovery into those channels. And I'd also like to set up places like once a year, have like a yearly conference where people can come from around the world, share recovery, and just spread this message and just show how big it can get for the people that do need help. I got family right now that's recovering. I got a cousin in Vegas who's homeless, and my cousin calls me, it's her brother, and she's like, how do we help him? And you're almost lost for words, and I want to reach out and help people that have almost destroyed. If I didn't have the wife I have right now, I wouldn't be married right now. I can guarantee you that. There's no way, and I wanted to help people. The hardest ones to help, I kind of want to reach out to.
Right. The people that are like, when you'll have a lot of people that you're going to come across that are going to come to your channel and stuff, that they're destitute. They don't have any means. They don't have a house. They don't have money. They don't have insurance. And, you'll be able to help a lot of people. You'll see it's pretty awesome. And they're going to meet people all over the world, all over the United States that, it's so amazing. And it's like, all we have to do is continue sharing our stories and staying sober. And that's really all it's about, being honest. and it works out. So it's just awesome. It's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I know that you having this channel is going to really, it's going to help you so much in your own recovery.
Yeah, I want to take what I've learned and give it back. You know, say somebody that has 5 years, like even Sober James, he has an extended amount of recovery, and I showed him a tool that he had never heard of. So there's these tools we can share that we've never heard of to continue helping in our recovery. And I like to do skits on mine. I'm starting to get into the skit thing because some things are kind of hard to understand. So if I can do it in a skit form and bring it to life, you know, I eventually want to bring like stories out of the AA book to life and just have a visual, like, oh, you know, where people have an epiphany if they keep hearing it and it just doesn't make sense. Hopefully I can bring it to life through skits and things like that.
I saw that one you did on your channel at the very beginning. It's like a couple of videos in with your different personalities.
Yeah.
That was like really good. I'm not creative like that, but I would love to see you do like, you know, the Jay Walker story in the Big Book.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Exactly.
Or the guy who drinks the whiskey with the milk.
Yep. Just
that
so
would be a good one.
Yep.
There's also some really awesome like personal stories in the back of the book. Like that one where he's a doctor and he's an alcoholic and he is giving himself shots of opiates and tranquilizers.
Oh,
and so it's basically showing you in the AA book about how, you know, like the outside issue and that he was an alcoholic, but he also was abusing other things, you know?
Right.
I'll send you the page number or whatever.
Yeah,
anyway,
I haven't read that. Yeah.
I'm so glad that she came on. I just am excited to see your channel grow, and I want everybody from our channel, Real Talk Recovery, you guys go over there and subscribe to LT's channel. I'm going to link it in the comments. It's already getting linked. We're going to link it down below when this video uploads. And yeah, this is awesome. I loved having you on. Let me go ahead and show you what my little boy's doing over here wilding out. Go ahead, say hi. Yeah.
Did you want to meet Link?
He is just over here going, Mom. No, I'm not.
Did you want to meet Link, my son that was in the accident?
Yes. Bring him on. Hey, dude, what's up?
Not much.
How are you feeling?
Doing good.
Man, I saw your video, and I just want you to know that you're one of the strongest men I've ever met in my whole entire life. I can't even believe you're sitting here in front of me.
Yeah, it's a miracle. The fact that he's sitting here is literally a miracle. And like you said, God used this to help. You know, it may have taken a couple of years, but he's not only helped me. You should see the joy he's actually spread throughout this community around here. It'd blow your mind. He was supposed to be dead. There was actually a doctor on the scene when the accident happened, who I took Link to meet him probably 3-4 months later, and I was like, hey, thanks for all you did there. And he's like, I can't wrap my medical mind around why he's alive.
You're a miracle. I mean, like, I truly believe that God he works in mysterious ways. And the reason why, like I said before, is because that needed to happen, and that came together, and you got snapped out of it. And now look, he's healthy and happy. You're healthy and happy. I mean, like, and I think a lot of people get afraid to talk about their addictions or in front of their kids and stuff. But like with my son, he knows that I'm in recovery. You know what I mean? We're very open like that because it's so important. So that way our kids don't go down the same road as we did, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. That is awesome.
Link, I'm so proud of you, man. I think that you are just going to do such great things, for real.
Thank you.
You are a beast. Hey, what's up? You're so pretty. Aww. You have a beautiful family, man.
Thank you.
For real. And now, doesn't it feel good to be present in your family's life? Like, I can't tell y'all enough how much my son was only one when everything happened, but even him being only one, hey, wife, I think all the time about how I wasn't present and how grateful I am to be present.
I wouldn't be here right now. I would be in the basement halfway through a fifth of whiskey. Wait, and not even remember tomorrow.
Are y'all happy to have your dad back in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord, he's back.
Yes, that's right. Do you get to go out and have lots of fun and like go do just cool stuff?
And he'll remember.
And I'll remember.
That's awesome though. Oh, you're so cute. Man, I'm telling you what, you're so blessed. Like
Yeah.
we just don't understand how blessed we really are. Sometimes I have to like pinch myself because I'm like, I don't deserve this life that I have, you know.
I agree. And now we have this chance to make the last half better. I always think about, in one of my videos I say it, but if you were to die right now, what would your obituary say? And now that we have this new chance, we get to rewrite what our obituary might have said, you know, something positive. People were proud to be.
Yes, like mine would have said like she was on the side of the road collecting donations. And now it's going to say like, you know, I don't know, she was helping other people or something like that. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I don't want to even know what it would have said back in the day, though. It would have not been good.
No, mine either. Absent father, a horrible husband.
I know, man. I know. Well, listen, I am going to let you guys go, but I really appreciate you coming on my channel, and we'll have you back on. This is what I like to do. I like to do check-ins with people. So in a couple of months, come back on the channel. Let us know how you're doing with your recovery, how your channel's progressing, and all that stuff. I mean, you come by all the time anyway. So you're already part of the family. But when are you going to start doing your live streams so that way everybody will know and we can come over there?
So every Tuesday night we're starting. We started last Tuesday, and so we kicked it off. It'll be every Tuesday night at 9:00 Mountain Time. That's my time here in Utah. And so I do my recovery, my aftercare program on Tuesdays, and we come straight from there, all inspired, and we'll sit here as a family. So if you want to talk to my wife and ask her what it was like to live with an addict and what she had to do to deal with me, she'll be able to answer questions like that too.
So you're going to have the family on, and then everybody can interact, because I know I have a lot of like moms and dads and husbands and wives that are not addicted. They're just, you know, the loved one of an addict.
Exactly.
And so
the addict is the only one that needs to recover. The family has to recover as well.
Exactly. So that's 9:00 Mountain Time. So that's 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, you guys. If you want to come hang out with us on Tuesday nights on LT's channel, 9:00 Mountain Time, 10:00 Central.
Yep.
Okay. All right, you guys. I'll see y'all later. Good night. Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Stay
Bye,
sober.
Link. Bye, baby girl. Bye, wife. Okay, buddy. I hear you, bud. Do you guys hear my son over here just beating me to death? So you guys, I'm going to link all of LT's social media stuff in the comment section of this video when I upload it, and in the description box. So if you guys need anything at all and you guys want to hang out with Link and his family and LT Link and his family on Tuesday nights, he's going to start doing live streams. They did their first live stream last Tuesday. So go subscribe to his channel. The channel is called Recovering Addict. And like I said, I will link it. I love you guys. I have got to get this boy in bed. He's driving me insane. I love you guys. Have a good night. What are you doing to me, son? What are you doing to me?